International Trade Focus is brought to you by GOIL and Agricultural Development Bank.
Coming up on International Trade Focus, we shall take a look at the National Export Development Strategy and the importance of involving the younger generation in this strategy. And later, ADB records more than 300% increase in profits after tax despite the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic last year. Hi there, thanks for tuning in to another edition of International Trade Focus. On this week's episode, we shall take a look at the National Export Development Strategy and why it's imperative to involve the younger generation. The National Export Development Strategy seeks to increase Ghana's non-traditional exports to 25 billion in 2029. So that's what we'll be taking a look at on this week's edition of International Trade Focus. International Trade Focus is brought to you by GOIL, Good Energy, ADB, Truly, Agric, and more, Pediase Valley Resort. My lovely outfit is by Public Elegance. My name is Anna Spiel, and this is International Trade Focus. Stay tuned.
Here's innovation from GOIL that takes you further. New GOIL Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes have been expertly crafted with the latest in liquid engineering technology, highly advanced for modern engines, prolongs oil change intervals, save you fuel, clean, protect and enhance engine performance. The way engines work has become complex, and GOIL has innovated to stay ahead with expertly crafted lubricants that work excellently with all petrol and diesel engines of today. New GOIL Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes. Innovation that takes you further. GOIL. Good energy.
Are you an importer or exporter? Do you need quick financing at the best rate on the market? ADB has good news for you. Walk into any agricultural development bank location nationwide for that solution to all your trade financing needs. ADB offers you pre-financing of exports and imports, post-shipment credit facilities, bank guarantees, the issuance and acceptance of letters of credit, documentary bills for collection, outward documentary collection. Enjoy free advisory services from our well-trained dedicated trade officers. Exporters of agricultural products are encouraged to take advantage of this great service. For further enquiries, call us on 0302 210 210. ADB, making trade finance easy. ADB, Truly Agric and more.
Breathtaking picturesque views, the essence of tranquility recrafted. What's your desire? A romantic expedition, syndicate sessions, banquet and conferences, or a discreet weekend getaway? Just name it. It is exclusively packaged for you at Pediase Valley Resort. Every spacious rooms, ultra-modern gym facilities, games, indoors, terrace and lawn restaurants and lounges, cozy private dining, and all the swimmer's paradise. Aquaba, any day, all year round to Pediase Valley Resort. The acts of serenity, skillfully served.
Our focal point segment comes up next. With the African Continental Free Trade in full bloom, Ghana seeks to intensify its industrialization and export potential to its maximum. Ghana's economy is largely driven by exports, mainly in gold, cocoa, and crude oil. But to boost the country's non-traditional exports, the government came up with the National Export Development Strategy, NET. The National Export Development Strategy provides a clear vision of the desired evolution of Ghana's non-traditional export sector 10 years from now and a roadmap for attaining the vision through a national consensus on how best to approach industrialization export development. NET aims at increasing Ghana's non-traditional export to $25 billion by 2030. Naturally, you would expect that for this policy to be sustainable for the long term, the younger generation would be integral to the implementation structure of NET. Thus, our focus on the youth in exports. For this purpose, we shall examine the export business of Cobb's Farms and also programs under the Ghana Export Promotion Authority (GEPA) aimed at encouraging youth in exports. Cobb's Farms Ghana Limited is an agribusiness company located at Somenya in the Yilo Krobo district of the Eastern region. Its owner, Ishmael Boafo, has been into fresh fruit export for more than 5 years now. He tells us more about his farm.
Cobb's actually in Somanya, it's a known name, you know. Originally, it's actually Kofi Boafo and Sons. You see, my old man is called Kofi, and we started with a small restaurant in town and a washing bay. So when I decided to go into farming and to register the business, I felt since this name has already made grounds, let's stick to it. And Cobb's Farms is an agribusiness firm. We do general farming, livestock, vegetables, planting of growing cereals and all that. We do everything farming. Now we render farm management services for other farmers who need one service or the other, you know, maybe plowing, pruning, spraying and all that. So we render those services at a cost for other farmers. And exports, you know, we are into fresh exports. So basically these are the three things we do.
But why did he venture into farming in the first place?
I have passion for farming. Yes, so I only started as a small-scale farmer. I was lucky to have land. You know, my dad happened to have bought some land for farming, which he himself, he isn't a farmer actually, yeah, but he acquired the land to start with, and since I also have passion for it, I continued.
Contrary to the perception that it was difficult for a young person to venture into export, Ishmael thinks it was rather simple. According to him, a strong passion for export and following the necessary processes and registration is key. As for the produce, he believes there were several farm produce already perishing because there were no markets for them.
Exports is one venture that you don't really need to own the farm before you can export. There are so many farms and farmers who are dying to have people to buy their commodities. So basically, what you need to be an exporter is you being able to create markets for the already existing commodities that are finding farmers are finding so hard, very difficult to sell. With the internet now, which aids a lot in meeting potential buyers, I think that is the way to go. That's what we actually do. We get about 90% of our buyers through the internet, through the social media platforms. That's basically all we do. So I must say, exports in Ghana, you don't really need so much to start, and it's a venture that I expect more of the youth to tap into, and not to sit and say you have no work to do. That one I find it difficult to understand.
According to him, compared to selling to local market women, the profit margins from exports were great.
Before we went into this fresh exports, the only markets available to us were just two processing factories, Blue Skies and HPW, and our local market women. But trust me, when you have a lot of mangoes, like in the beginning of the season, that there are a lot of mangoes, and you should depend on these local markets, you'll be discouraged, and probably you might end up going out of this business. So when we started the exports, I mean the margins, the profit margins, as compared to when we were not exporting, was just awesome. Well, it was overwhelming. So to me, export is good, but it demands a lot of work and supervision.
But the export sector, like all sectors, has its own challenges.
For exports, quality has been the main issue, you see, and some destinations, they prefer you shipping by sea, and we know mango is a highly perishable commodity, so we do have few issues sometimes, with quality. Maybe it's not the fruit which is bad, but maybe the maturity as at the time you will be signing by sea. So when it gets there, you get some few fruits going bad, and it affects your income. Yes, and maybe we'll talk about that. That has also given way, even though it's a challenge there, it's giving way to another innovation, that is processing. So we are venturing into some processing now, which we intend to export as well. If you intend to pick fruit from a particular farm, then you need to monitor with the farmer. You need to monitor through the production season with the farmer. The only challenge here is you, the exporter, even though it's not your farm you'll be picking from, that is when you are not harvesting from your own farm, then it means you have work to do, that is supervising and probably helping the farmers with records keeping, because it's very important when it comes to export. Traceability, they should know which fruit is coming from which field at what time.
Cobbs Farms has value addition plans. Mr. Boafo explains to us how he believes this vision can come to fruition.
We came up with the decision to go into drying, dehydrating of mangoes. Yes, and presently we are out with a product, a dried mango slices, and the idea is to export that one as well. Right now we are in the process of securing certifications for these to enable us export as well. Presently, our capacity with this dried mangoes, for me, it's a bit low, looking at the potential of the markets available. So we're looking at probably getting some partners on board, or probably the government, maybe some 1DA, 1F, if it should happen, fine. Without that, we'll still find our way up there.
There are several other young individuals involved in fruit exports. Through this venture, these young individuals have been able to change their lives and that of the societies within which they operate. Ishmael Boafo acknowledges government support in certain capacities, but believes government could do more for young exporters.
Presently, government, in my view, and as far as Cobbs Farms is concerned, the support that comes in is probably from our local MOFA, that's through extension services and a few capacity building, one or two meetings here and there, capacity building. But I think government can still do more. You realize the farm road on which we went through to get here, during the rainy seasons, it's actually very difficult using the road, and the nature of the commodity we are dealing with. When it's time to harvest and get the fruits out of the farm, and the roads are this bad, it's a problem. So, in as much as government is focusing on the city roads, I think they should be looking at getting some of these major farming areas roads done, not as asphalted or something, but probably just getting it to this feeder road standard.
On the part of government, some agencies have already started export programs targeted at the youth. One such program is the Youth in Export Program, YIEP, by the Ghana Export Promotion Authority and GEPA and the Youth Employment Agency, YEA. 20 trainees were selected for the pilot phase of the program. The trainees are expected to go into the production of cassava, pineapple, chili, okra, among others, for exports. Senior Development Officer of the Ghana Exports Promotion Authority, Mr. Kwabna Bafo Kuma, explains the program.
The Youth in Export program is focused on production for exports. The emphasis is on exports. And that's why GEPA and YEA tried to identify experienced farmers and exporters who have so much knowledge regarding production for exports, so they can train the selected youth in the production processes to meet international standards.
According to him, the Youth in Exports program has been very successful.
As part of monitoring and evaluation, we paid regular visits to the various farms, and the feedback we got from the trainees, their mentors, as well as what we observed, indicated that the trainees were passionate about the program. Within a very short time, they've been able to learn so much. Their mentors also indicate that the trainees are very committed to the program. They are disciplined and hardworking. And within 6 months, their mentors have done a great job of taking them through all the various aspects of production for export. They've learned about the land preparation, they've learned about selecting seeds, planting, harvesting and sorting for export. Essentially, all the things they need to know regarding export, and we think that's quite impressive. Generally, it's been good. However, one of the challenges they faced was trying to move from their various homes to the farm. I think there were challenges with the vehicles that traveled to the various farms were quite inadequate, and so sometimes going to the farm was a challenge. So as GEPA and YEA tried to engage some of their mentors to provide them with accommodation on the farm, which would mean that they can easily travel from their homes to the farm.
Mr. Bafo, however, used the occasion to dispel the popular notion that the youth were adamant to venture into agribusiness.
Most of them really want to work on, they really want an opportunity so they can take advantage of. Most of them, if we are able to reduce the risk and then the cost regarding operating within the agri sector, they'll be so much willing to participate in the agri sector. As a matter of fact, that's why GEPA and YEA decided to come up with this initiative, so that when they get the training, when they receive the training, we will also provide them with the resources they require to be able to establish and manage their own farms. That has been one of the challenges, getting the resources to start something. So this, in essence, what we are doing is, assisting them to acquire the knowledge and skills in producing for exports, at the same time providing them with the resources.
As cliche as it may sound, the youth are critical in any sustainable government strategy, and the national export ambition of reaching $25 billion in the non-traditional export is no different. It will take deliberate investment into youth export programs to be able to replace the aging export farmers that Ghana largely depends on for export. It will take passion from the youth to attain a future in which Ghana is leveraging on the free market under the African Continental Free Trade Area to increase export earnings. Right, if you just tuned in, you're watching International Trade Focus. Our in-depth segment comes up next. On our in-depth segment this week, we'll be discussing the National Exports Development Strategy with the Deputy CEO of the Ghana Exports Promotion Authority, Samuel Dentu. Stay tuned. A warm welcome back. You're watching International Trade Focus, and this is our in-depth segment. Now, we're going to take a look at the National Exports Development Strategy and why it's imperative to involve the younger generation. And discussing this topic with me is the Deputy CEO of the Ghana Exports Promotion Authority, Mr. Samuel Dentu. Well, he'll be doing most of the talking though, but it's still a discussion nonetheless. Thank you very much for joining us on our program today.
You're welcome.
Let's delve straight into today's topic. So the National Export Development Strategy, we know, provides a clear vision for the desired evolution of Ghana's non-trad export sector 9 years from now, and a roadmap for attaining the vision through a national consensus on how best to approach industrial export development. And it aims, this is my favorite part, it aims to increase Ghana's non-traditional export to $25 billion by 2029. So for a country like Ghana, why do we need a strategy like this?
Okay, let me actually also try to put this in perspective by trying to tell you, your viewers, what Ghana Export Promotion is and what it stands for and why its existence in the first place. So Ghana Export Promotion has been around for 50 years, as you can see. Last year, 2019 was our 50th year, and its mandate is basically to promote made in Ghana products and services into the international world, so that we can get buyers for the products that are made in Ghana, so we can get foreign exchange coming into the country. This it has done, proudly for 50 years, and today, non-traditional export, and when we talk about non-traditional export, we are talking about everything that has value added, except the ones that we send outside in its raw form, like raw cocoa, raw bauxite, raw manganese, and all the other natural resources that we have. There was a need for diversification because it was believed that these are not going to be there forever. And so the need for Ghana Export Promotion and its mandate. And like I said, it's been doing this for 50 years. But you realize that over the years, revenue from non-traditional export has been around, of course, it started from zero. And as at 2019, we were around $3 billion coming through from non-traditional export. If we look at the way the international economy is going and the way even our national economy is growing, there is a need to actually increase this revenue from the non-traditional export. And you realize that the president has been hammering on the need for us to export value-added product instead of our raw product. So there was a need for us to have a national strategy, how we're going to achieve this. Okay, and how long it's going to take and all that. So, the strategy, the Neds, as we call it, National Export Development Strategy, looks at the fact that in 10 years, where do we have to be as far as our non-traditional export is concerned? And we have looked at the whole ecosystem, the export ecosystem, where we are today, what are the challenges, and where we want to be in 10 years, and we have put everything in perspective with regards to the environment, both the national environment and the international environment, and then we brought everything together to come up with a strategy, which if we consistently execute it, We hope that in 10 years we're going to move from the $3 billion US dollars to 25 billion US dollars. So to answer your question, there is a need, because if we want to look at the stretch, it's far, but also 10 years is quite far. But then if you are deliberate and systematic about improving the ecosystem, we hope to get there.
Right, so the National Exports Development Strategy, let me play the devil's advocate here. Is it necessary at all to even involve the younger generation? And to what extent have we involved the younger generation in this National Exports Development Strategy?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's important that the younger generation is captured as part of the strategy and what role they would have to play. When we were doing the strategy, I mean, we started doing the strategy from 2018. It was launched last year, that's 2020, together with our response to the Continental Free Trade Area. I mean, when we were doing the strategy, we involved a whole lot of stakeholders. I mean, it wasn't GEPA that sat here to write the strategy. We involved a lot more people who are exporters, and within that exporters are the youth also. I mean, we have a lot of SMEs who are part of some export association or the other. We have the institutions, the government institutions that help these exporters to be successful in the international market. We have associations like Federation of Ghanaian Exporters that bring all the exporters together. We have the AGI, that is the Association of Ghanaian Industry, that is also a big part of the export ecosystem. We have the ports, we have the customs, we have a whole lot of people. All of them came together to deliberate and interrogate the system and come up with interventions that will improve the export ecosystem, and for that matter, the results from export. So all these people, including the youth who are in export, were part of it. And then, so yes, the youth were involved, and it is important to involve the youth because, like we say, they are the future of the country. And if you look at the current export businesses around, you realize that most of the people who are leading are the older generation, and it's important for us to introduce the youth into export because they are going to take over the mantle when the older ones are no more.
Right. So talking about the youth, we know that the Ghana Export Promotion Authority and the Youth Employment Institution Agency launched the Youth in Exports program in 2019. So 2 years down the line, I believe there are so many success stories that you can share with us. But before we go into the success stories, how would you assess the level of progress so far as this Youth in Exports program is concerned?
For me, the success story would be at the end when we have found that these youth that we enrolled into the agribusiness sector of export have been able to churn out products that can be exported. I mean, one of the things that people need to understand is that growing, let's say, pineapple or pepper for national consumption is not the same as growing it for export. Now, the Youth in Export program started even before we started the National Export Development Strategy because we realized that, like I already said, especially when you go into the agribusiness area, the people who are farming for export are of a certain age, and it's cut across the various crops, vegetables, fruit, and stuff like that. It cuts across. So we found a need that, okay, why don't we come up with that program, the Youth in Export, and encourage the youth to be interested in agriculture business for export. And so we partnered with the Youth Employment Agency, YEA, and came up with that project. Then we decided, okay, let's test it, let's pilot it. So we went out, and we didn't just sit in a room and call some youth. We published it, and people expressed interest. Because when it comes to agriculture, we believe that people would have to have the interest to be successful. Okay, so We didn't want to just point people that, okay, you come and let's train you. And we didn't want to make it so big so that it wouldn't, they wouldn't be focused. So we did an advert in the newspapers, and then people applied, and then we selected them. Now the program is such that they had to go through some theoretical training for about 6 months, and then do a practical training on the field. Don't forget that I've said this was agribusiness. So these 20 people went through various trainings, and then they were attached to individuals who are, doing agriculture for export. So they would learn the hands-on of producing, let's say, chili pepper or pineapple or papaya or aubergine for export. So so far, I think it's been great. These 20 people have been with their benefactors, the farmers, the older farmers who have the experiences. And I think they've gone through the whole program, and we are at the stage where we need to provide them with a setup. Okay, so the agreement or the plan was that once they have gone through this program till the end, the people who train them, or the farmers or the exporters who train them, will give them, let's say, an acre or two of land. And then Ghana Export Promotion, together with YEA, is going to provide them with the necessary implement and input that they need to farm those 2 acres or 1 acre of land to the satisfaction of the standards that they've learned. Okay, so like I said, it's not just about going to sow a seed of pepper and hoping that it will grow and then you can harvest it and take it to the market. There are particular standards, there are particular agribusiness practices or agricultural practices that you need to apply to those farms and everything in it to make sure that when the pepper is harvested and you take it to, let's say, Dubai or an European country, they will be bought. Okay, so we will provide them with the input, including the all the tools, the seedlings, the chemicals that they need, and everything, so that they would produce. And then the exporters, don't forget, these people that we chose for them are exported themselves, so they have markets there. So they would buy the products from them, even though they had given them the land. We have provided them with the input. They will buy, and then they would export it, and then they will pay them. The idea is that once they get their proceed, they would stay in the field and look for, bigger land, look for bigger investment, and then expand whatever they have learned over the period. So we are at the stage of giving them those inputs to begin the cultivation themselves, and then and hoping that they get it right for the standards that there are. So when it comes to fruit and vegetables exports, it's quite delicate. It's not anything that you can just wake up and do. And even when it comes to getting the demand, the buyers from the other side is also another technical area. So like I said, success would be when all these 20 people have been able to produce successfully, and then they are able to export them. So that is the program that, and like I said, it was a pilot. If this becomes very successful, then we intend extending it and then even taking it to the other export sectors. Yeah.
The National Exports Development Strategy, that's what we are looking at today. How does a young person, take full advantage of this strategy? You are in the field, you were part of the drawing phase. You put the policy together and all of that. So I know you have in-depth knowledge on this strategy. So as a young person who has heard about this and then wants to get involved, how exactly will they be able to take advantage of this strategy? Okay, so I'd first say that if you are a young person and you are interested in exporting, I've always said that exporting is not just like
you having some goods or services and going out there to look for buyers, within the national confines. There are particular things you need to learn to be an exporter. So first of all, if you are a youth and you are interested in export, you need to have a product or you need to have a service that you think could sell outside the confines of the country. You need to have a tested business. There must be a certain business, it's not just like coming out of the classroom and you want to export. You should have built a certain business. So that is the first stage. The first stage is that you look out for the agencies that are there to support you set up your business, grow the business to a certain level, be export ready. So when you come to Ghana Export Promotion and you want to have a conversation with us, the first thing we check is that, are you export ready? There is a checklist. We'll go through all that and then we'll be sure that you are export ready. If you are not export ready and you have a business, we would...
Not to catch you, but on that checklist, what are some of the
it's a long checklist. Honestly, I wouldn't...
Just a few.
No, for instance, the first thing is that you have registered your business, you have aligned on all the statutories. You have a product, like I said. Is the product something that potentially can sell in the international world? Do you understand the standards around it? So we'll cross-check, or I'll give you a copy of that. It's a long list. We'll check all of that. Where you fall short, then we will know that, okay, first of all, you have a product that can be exported. Then we'll take you through the processes. We have an export school that will teach you all that you need to know about export, concerning even how to read a contract and how to understand and how to go into trade deals and all that. So you need to be export ready. But the most important thing about being export ready is the fact that your product meets the international standard in terms of the content, in terms of the packaging, more importantly, in terms of capacity to produce more and to supply, okay? Because we realize that most times people have a product, they can produce a few boxes for the national market, and they think that it has to be exported. But when you go out there and you are exporting, you are looking at big businesses who also intend to supply into that market. And so they are giving you container loads of demand. Do you have the capacity? Okay, so we check all that. And then we take you through the... So I was answering the question, how the youth can take advantage of it. So the youth can take advantage of it, first of all, when they have a business, and then when they are export ready, which we can help them to be, but then more importantly, they need to understand what is in the document, which means that you need to read the strategy and look at where you can take advantage of. When it comes to building your capacity, that is one of the things that the strategy addresses. Okay, so we believe that to be able to sustain any export order, you need to have the capacity. And this strategy stands on 3 pillars. One is the supply-based capacity improvement for all the exporters and all the people who want to take advantage of the strategy. 2 has to do with, the regulatory environment, making it easier for people to be able to do their export business without frustrations. So the strategy would address that. And like I said, it will address it per all the sectors. And then the other bit would be building the capacity of the exporter itself, the third pillar. Okay, so because the international trade world is not static, it's always changing. So if you are an exporter, you need to always be on your feet in understanding what is the trend, what is going on in the market, which markets need what, and all that. So if we build your capacity through, showing you and pointing you to the right places where to get the information, then as an exporter, every time you are going on to learn the new things in the market, where the new markets are, where the new demands are, and all that. So the youth can take advantage of the strategy, first of all, by having a business and knowing what is in the strategy itself, and then approaching GEPA for any advice. I mean, with their proposals and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right, you're watching International Trade Figures, and this is our in-depth segment. The conversation continues after this break. Don't go away.
Breathtaking picturesque views, the essence of tranquility recrafted. What's your desire? A romantic expedition, syndicate sessions, banquet and conferences, or a discreet weekend getaway? Just name it. It's exclusively packaged for you at Peduasi Valley Resort. Every spacious rooms, ultra-modern gym facilities, games, indoors, terrace and lawn restaurants and lounges, cozy private dining, and all the swimmer's paradise. Aquaba, any day, all year round to Peduasi Valley Resort. The acts of serenity, skillfully served.
A warm welcome back. We're taking a look at the National Exports Development Strategy with the Deputy CEO of the Ghana Exports Promotion Authority, Samuel Dentu. Stay tuned. Approaching the Ghana Exports Promotion Authority, do you sort of assist someone who has the potential? For instance, the person has a product that you with your eye can see that this will do well on the international market. They've made some preparations, but when it comes to youth in this field, there's some problems that they face or challenges that they face, particularly financing. So as Ghana Exports Promotion Authority, I know you're not a financial institution, but sitting at where you sit, do you sort of provide some assistance, you know, tell them the right institutions to go to, and sometimes even lead an individual like this who has a potential, and then you can see that this product will do really well on the international market, but financing to build his capacity is something that they don't have?
Yeah, I mean, we do. Like you said, we are not a bank, we are not a financial institution, and so we don't ourselves, we are not even allowed to dish money out to people, but we work closely with Ghana Exim Bank that are supposed to be the financing arm of export development. And so if you are a youth and you have a fantastic product, whether product or services, and we assess it and we see that it has a potential, we will help you through to ensure that you improve on your capacity to deliver. We've done that for a few people. I mean, I don't want to mention names, but I can count on my finger about 10 of such people that we've helped in the past. Some have the orders. I mean, they have the product, they have the orders. They don't have the finances to supply to meet the demand. We've led a couple to some commercial banks that, I mean, we've convinced them with the documentation that, okay, this man is producing this. This is the order he has. If he produces and supplies, in 2 weeks your money will come, and the banks have helped them. We note and we are very much aware that finances is the biggest problems that our SMEs have, including the SMEs that are led by youth. But until you approach, tell your story, we assessing it together, you don't know what support you could get. Ghana Export Promotion Chief Executive Officer sits on the Ghana Exim Board, and that is the reason why she sits on the Ghana Exim Board. If we find some proposals that are very interesting and has the capacity to improve our export revenue earnings, we are gladly to lead you to Ghana Exim Bank for you to get the needed support. So yes, there are ways of helping the youth who have very, very good product. The problem is that sometimes we put the need for finance or funds ahead of everything else, and so we do not take time to actually develop the products to meet international standards. So if we crowd our minds with the fact that, oh, I need money, you wouldn't, because you have a half big product and you think that that product should go to the international market, only for you to come and see that, okay, there is more you have to do than even thinking about the money. So yes, we are willing to help any youth who has a good product or a service even, and support them to be able to have export market. The interesting thing is that most of these products that we talk about, sometimes you check and it's rich, or it's rich even in the national market. It's very small, but they think that you have to jump into export. No, it doesn't work like that. Yeah, so I would encourage the youth to take time to work on their product, make sure that and Ghana Export Promotion is there to support you in ways that you probably would not know unless you come and talk to us, and then we can see where to direct you to, or what to give you to improve on what you are doing.
Right. So in other words, your doors are open wide. Absolutely. Right. So the National Export Development Strategy seeks to increase non-traditional exports to $25 billion in 2029. So that is 9 years from now. Last year was 10 years, so 9 years from now. So taking a look at all the policies that you've put in place, or the steps that you've taken, do you think that by 2029, this vision of 25 billion will become a reality?
Do I think it will become a reality? I want it to become a reality. And we, in our capacity, will do everything to make sure that we achieve it, because we feel that we've been stagnant for a very long time. But the potential is there. I mean, the market is there. The product we have. It's just that we need to move and tweak some policies a bit for us to be able to produce more in the right quantities, in the right qualities to meet the international. And those are the things that we have captured. But again, for a strategy like that, we need to put a lot of money behind its implementation, which is what we are doing this year, trying to find the money that we need to be able to push all the various strategies, or all the various interventions in the various areas to achieve what we want to achieve. So if we put all the efforts, we get all the support from other sister agencies, the government itself, which we are part, and we focus, yes, we should be able to achieve that, because it's not just a number that came out, it's based on line-by-line projections of what we can do. And if you take the strategy, you will see how every line has been projected to achieve where we are today, and what we have to achieve every year to be able to get to the 29 million in the next 9 to 10 years. So yes, we believe that we can achieve it.
Right. So away from the National Export Development Strategy, or still is related somehow, the Continental Free Trade. I mean, trading under the Continental Free Trade began January this year. So as Ghana Exports Promotion Authority, how are you positioning yourself to ensure that the country harnesses the full benefits of the Continental Free Trade?
Thank you. That's a very good question. Ghana Export Promotion Authority is actually the national trade promotion organization, and so the Africa Continental Free Trade Area necessarily sits on our laps. Our mother ministry, that is the Trade Ministry, under the leadership of the Honorable Alan Chairmanton, was in the thick of things in making sure that this whole Continental Free Trade area happened, and has fought very hard for us to even host the secretariat in this same building. And so Ghana Export Promotion is directly involved in the after and how Ghana gets benefit out of it. We are aware that it is not just an opportunity, but could also be a threat if you are not prepared, okay? Because your market could be swamped with other stuff from other countries if you are not ready. And so for us, the first preparation we have made is the National Export Development Strategy itself. It's a direct response to the opportunity that the Continental Free Trade Area offers, okay? So that's our direct response. I mean, that is why in October last year, October and November last year, we were all over the country telling people, first of all, about the opportunity that the AFTA presents and the preparedness that we have or we've made to meet that opportunity. I mean, there is what we call the National Secretariat for the Continental Free Trade Area. That has also been set up. So together, we work closely to ensure that our businesses are ready and able to take advantage of the free trade area. We did that national sensitization. The next thing is that we are going to target some organizations or SMEs that we need to support directly. Okay, so we have people, SMEs who are already exporting into Africa. I mean, the ECOWAS countries and other African countries. Those we need to target and help them to do more. There are people who are exporting to other countries but not into Africa, but they have the capacity to supply to Africa. So those will also be targeted. And there are other organizations that have the capacity to export, but they are not exporting at all. So those would also be targeted and be supported to take advantage of the Continental Free Trade Area. For instance, we were in Rwanda last week, the week between 14th and 21st. And then our objective was to see what opportunities exist as far as their market is concerned, and not just their market, the other African countries surrounding Rwanda. What do they need that we have, okay, and we can supply? I mean, when we went to Rwanda, we went through many supermarkets looking at what they sell and where they come from. About 80, just like Ghana, about 80% to 90% of their goods come from Europe, but they are stuff that can be supplied from Ghana. We took samples there, they were happy with it. When we came back, just a couple of days after, we did a virtual business forum that we got the Rwandan businesses and the Ghanaian businesses to meet, to do business-to-business interactions and stuff like that. We will be doing the same thing in many countries so that our businesses here who have the capacity to sell their goods in other African countries without duty and everything can take advantage of it. So yes, Ghana Export Promotion is well positioned and really understand that we play a major part in this whole Continental Free Trade Area to ensure that our businesses take advantage of it.
Can we then say that you are sort of an institution that plays a role in sensitizing the business community of the continental?
Yes, we do. I mean, I was going to actually start with that, but our mandate is to promote, facilitate, and develop exports, non-traditional export. And within that is sensitization, within that is product development, within that is marketing and promotion, within that is capacity building, okay, and many other things. So yes, sensitization is a major part of what we do.
So a study conducted by the Ghana Statistical Service last year, 2020, says that only about 26% of firms in Ghana
are even aware of the continental free trade. So what are you doing to ensure that this sensitization increases?
We have plans of even doing more sensitization to even the district level. Thankfully, we have a lot of other organizations, some are even private, who are taking up the opportunity to even sensitize some more. So on the government side, we are doing what we can do. And it's not just Ghana Export Promotion, other organizations are also doing it. The private sector is doing it, Ministry of Trade itself is doing it at the best, any best opportunity that comes up. But on our part, we will continue to do the sensitization. In fact, we are coming up with a program that will be called the ABC of AFTA. I mean, to break it down to the minutest level for everybody to understand and to know the opportunities that it presents, and like I said, the risks that it also presents. Okay, so it's still a baby. We are going on, and we'll go on and on till everybody understands what it means, so that our businesses can take advantage of it.
Right. So we're about wrapping up. Do you have any final words for us before we go?
Yes. What I would say is that we are all in this together. I mean, one thing that people need to appreciate when we talk about the cedi depreciation and its effect on all of us, I mean, the only antidote for us to have a stable cedi is to have many dollars in the economy. And one thing that drives the dollars in the economy is exports, okay? Whilst imports actually take it away. But unfortunately, we are at a stage where we do more import than export, even though in the last couple of years, I think we've had a positive balance of trade, meaning that our export is beginning to go over our import. So everybody would have to think global. I mean, every businessman, whether you are into production or into service provision, you need to think global, especially with the advent of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. What it means is that you don't need to think about Ghana market alone. You need to think about the bigger African continent as far as your product or your service is concerned. And when you do that, I mean, we will be getting more dollars or foreign exchange coming in, and we'll have our peace of mind about worrying about the cedi depreciation and its effects in our pocket. The good thing is that when you earn your dollars, of course, it doesn't go to government, it comes to you, but then it increases the foreign exchange in the economy, okay? Because the thing is, when the dollars come, you're not just going to withdraw all the dollars and spend it, but it will be sitting in the financial space, and it helps us to ensure that we do not begin to worry unnecessarily because our cedi is weak. So export is a good thing. Every businessman needs to start thinking about how do I sell my product out there. And we as Ghana Export Promotion, we are there to give you all that you need to know about the international market and for us to succeed together. So those will be my last words.
Thank you very much, Mr. Samuel Dentu. Thank you very much, and welcome to the International Trade Focus family.
Thank you.
That was the Deputy CEO, Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Mr. Samuel Dentu. He joined us on our in-depth segments today. We took a look at the National Export Development Strategy and why it's imperative for us to involve the younger generation in this strategy. We'll be back shortly.
Here's innovation from Goyle that takes you further. New Gold Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes have been expertly crafted with the latest in liquid engineering technology, highly advanced for modern engines, prolongs oil change intervals, save you fuel, clean, protect and enhance engine performance. The way engines work has become complex, and Goyle has innovated to stay ahead with expertly crafted lubricants that work excellently with all petrol and diesel engines of today. New Goyle Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes. Innovation that takes you further. Goyle. Good energy.
The Agricultural Development Bank (ADB) has recorded more than 300% in profit before tax despite the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic last year. This represents a 65 million cedis in profit over its 2019 figures. The company's balance sheet size reached 10.5 billion at the end of December last year, as against 8.3 billion the year before. This was contained in the company's financial statement for the year 2020. According to its 2020 financial statement, ADB grew all its income lines despite the impact of COVID-19 on businesses, while interest income went up by 28% year-on-year to 626 million cedis in December 2020. The stated capital for the bank is still pegged at 698 million cedis, higher than the minimum capital requirement of 400 million cedis. The bank's earning per share went up by 24.99 pesos per share from about 5.66 pesos in 2019. Meanwhile, its bad debt jumped from 15 million cedis to 23 million within the period. Non-performing loans was still high at 34%, although it was a decline of about 0.6% from the previous year. ADB, however, saw an improvement in its capital adequacy ratio from 16.45% to 14.87%. The Bank of Ghana has announced it has been admitted into the Basel Consultative Group. The Basel Consultative Group is one of 5 working groups that form the internal structure of the Basel Committee for Banking Supervision, BCBS, the global standard-setting body for the supervision of banks. Membership of the Basel Group is limited to G20 countries but provides a platform to engage non-members. Ghana becomes the latest member from Africa after Mauritius, Tunisia, and Nigeria. In a press statement released by the central bank to announce this development, the bank said its membership with the BCG would increase the exposure of its banking supervisory staff to best practices in the supervision of banks and strengthen its cooperation with other supervisory authorities around the world. According to the Bank of Ghana, it remains committed to promoting the safety and soundness of Ghana's banking sector through effective regulation and supervision. The Bank of Ghana had recently completed a banking sector cleanup and recapitalization of banks operating in the country. Here are some basic protective measures against COVID-19, popularly known as the coronavirus disease. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water or alcohol-based rub. Maintain social distancing. Avoid touching eyes, nose, and mouth. Practice respiratory hygiene. If you have a fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, seek medical care early. Stay informed. Follow advice from your healthcare provider. Symptoms of coronavirus include fever, a runny nose, cough, sore throat, possibly a headache. Should you or anyone you know begin to exhibit the symptoms of COVID-19, do not go to the hospital but call emergency number 112.
Are you an importer or exporter? Do you need quick financing at the best rate on the market? ADB has good news for you. Walk into any agricultural development bank location nationwide for that solution to all your trade financing needs. ADB offers you pre-financing of exports and imports, post-shipment credit facilities, bank guarantees, the issuance and acceptance of letters of credit, documentary bills for collection, outward documentary collection. Enjoy free advisory services from our well-trained, dedicated trade officers. Exporters of agricultural products are encouraged to take advantage of this great service. For further enquiries, call us on 0302 210 210. ADB, making trade finance easy. ADB, truly agric and more.
And that does it for today's edition of International Trade Focus. Join us same time next week for some more on international trade-related activities here in Ghana and beyond. International Trade Focus is brought to you by GOL, Good Energy, ADB, Truly Agric and more. Pediatric Value Resort and Public Elegance provided me with this lovely outfit. My name is Anna Spiel. Join us same time next week. Bye-bye.